Good afternoon, everyone. Let me welcome you to the Burke County Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting. Again, today we are doing a Zoom virtual meeting for Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2020 at 3 o'clock p.m. At this time, I want to call our meeting to order and welcome everyone that is with us today by way of Zoom. If you are listening and on Zoom, if you would at this time, please check all your devices that may be with you in the area that you're in, phones, etc. And if you would, silence those so we won't have any background noises. And again, if you do need and wish to speak, we will identify ourselves before speaking. This time I'm going to do a verbal roll call. Vice Chair Mulwee.
Present.
Commissioner Abley.
Present.
Commissioner Britton.
Present.
Commissioner Taylor is not with us today. He has spoken and given me a reason for not being here. County Manager?
Here, sir.
Deputy County Manager?
Here, sir.
County Attorney?
Present.
All right, thank you so very much. All right, we've had the agenda in front of us for a number of days. At this time, I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
All right, then I will do a verbal roll call for the record to Vice Chairman Mulwee.
Yes.
Commissioner Abley?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
And I vote yes also. I think that'll be unanimous, Kay. All right, let's move on to our presentations. Our first one will be for our Pet of the Month from our Animal Services Center. And at this time, we'll recognize Caitlin Settlemeyer. Are you with us, Caitlin?
I am. How is everybody?
Wonderful. Go ahead, ma'am.
So we will have, once again, a pet of the month, a cat and a dog, to present for the month of May. So far, everybody that we have presented has been adopted, so we are very happy about that. So we look forward to presenting again this month.
All right, gentlemen, anybody have any questions for Caitlin? All right, I'll now do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Boyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Abley?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
And I also vote yes, Kay, so that will be unanimous.
Mr. Chairman,
Ma'am?
might I ask Ms. Settlemeyer to mention the Kitten Palooza that's coming up soon?
You may.
Yes, we are having a kitten adoption event on June 12th and 13th down here at the Animal Services Center. This is our first adoption event where our cats and kittens will be $45 a piece. We are absolutely overloaded this time of year. We have lots of little babies looking for their forever home, so we hope to move a lot out on those 2 days. So we hope people can get down here and join us. We will, of course, be adhering to social distancing, and this will be an outdoor event.
And that's called the Kitten Palooza?
Kitten Palooza.
All right. All right, if you're listening with us, please remind everybody in your towns about the Kitten Palooza. We would appreciate that. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Caitlin. All right, moving on to our scheduled public hearings. The first one we have will be from Blue Ridge Healthcare. Will be refinancing of the debt for Blue Ridge. That will be a public hearing. I would like to remind everybody we will be back in the boardroom for this so that we can have these public hearings that are necessary. So at this time, I would like to recognize Tom Muir, Senior Vice President in Corporate Services and General Counsel for Carolinas Healthcare Blue Ridge. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. I trust everyone can hear me well. I'm not very technology savvy, but I did want to take a moment to share with you a bit of good news. And despite the recent events of the past 5 months, I think there's some exciting news for our county. And so today we're going to be asking you to advance to your June 16th agenda the approval of our resolution to refinance our debt and borrow some money that will be in the form of bonds in order to do some major capital renovations, hopefully over the next 2 years, on both the Valdez and the Morganton campuses of our hospital. As you know, our hospital, I think, is next to the state of North Carolina, the largest employer in Burke County. And we have worked real hard, despite the recessionary effect of the economy the last few months, to not lay any of our employees off. We've done some reduction in hours and that sort of thing, but we do find an opportunity with the low interest rates that are out there right now to go to the municipal bond market, the nonprofit bond market, and refinance our existing debt. This obligation will remain the obligation of the hospital. In no way, shape, or form will it become an obligation of the public at large, and certainly not the county or any municipality. They would be tax deductible bonds, and therefore federal law currently requires our hospital to come to you as the local governing authority and ask for you to pass a resolution endorsing our ability to go and receive these tax deductible funds. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I certainly would welcome any questions and certainly will endeavor to answer them, but we certainly would seek you to add this to your agenda on the 16th.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard Tom's presentation. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about this issue?
Mr. Chairman, has JR received the resolution? Have we looked at it yet?
I have, sir, and it appears to be in.
Okay.
It would not obligate the Board of Commissioners or Burke County. It's just a way of making these bonds tax exempt.
Okay. Thank you, JR.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments?
Just a quick comment. I don't blame you one bit for refinancing the debt. It's historically low rates. You know, I deal with bonds myself in my day job, and you can really borrow inexpensively right now. So perfect time to do it.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, at this time I'll take a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will vote yes also. Okay, that will be 4-0 unanimous. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, sir.
All right, moving on to item number 2 from the county manager will be the adoption of the fiscal year 2021 budget and public hearing. At this time, I'll recognize Brian Steen, county manager. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you well know, we have one more budget workshop. We've incorporated the minor changes that the majority of the board members asked for in our last budget workshop, and we will have the budget in proper form for your consideration and approval at the actual meeting. I don't know if there's any questions I can help you with. I'll be glad to.
Gentlemen, you've heard Brian's presentation. Any questions for Brian today? All right, hearing none, I will now do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes. That'll be 4-0, Kay. Thank you very much. All right, now we'll move on to our consent agenda. Our first item will be a resolution regarding a surplus of real property. Gentlemen, we had this on before, and we decided to move this to give everybody an opportunity to ask any questions or any other comments that they had. And this is concerning 7 different properties that the school owns and have declared surplus, and the first right of refusal goes to the county. JR, would you back me up and give us a little background on this?
That's right. Before the school board can dispose of these properties, they do have to offer them to the county commissioners at a price to be negotiated between the parties. The properties that you have here are all properties attached to schools that have been closed, except for the Independence Boulevard, which is a piece that's across the street from Freedom High School.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the explanation by JR. Does anybody have any questions or comments regarding this matter? All right, hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the consent agenda. That will be Vice Chair Mulway,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes. Thank you very much, gentlemen. This will remain on the consent item agenda. And I know we have a number of Rutherford College Town Council members with us today in attendance, and I do appreciate you being on with us, along with Mr. Bryant Lindsay, who I think is on here also. All right, moving on to item number 2, appointments to the Board of Directors for Partners Behavioral Health Management. We will have to move this item to the July agenda at the request of Partners. After Partners reviewed their bylaws, they found that they needed to vote on these appointments before it came before our board, and they have not done that. So I will, if nobody has any objections, I want to move this to July. So we'll do a verbal roll call vote on this one. Vice Chair Mulway,
Yes.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes, Kay. So that will be 4-0 on that item.
Thank you.
To item number 3 is an appointment to the Western Piedmont Community College Board of Trustees, and this will be presented by Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, guests. This is a request to reappoint Ms. Kim Kling to the Western Piedmont Community College Board of Trustees, seat number 4, for a 4-year term ending June 30th, 2024. Currently, Ms. Kling's application is the only one on file, and should we receive others, I will move this to the decision item agenda.
Anyone have any questions for Kay on this appointment? All right, hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulway,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and Madam Clerk, I will also vote yes on this one. All right, moving on to item number 4 from County Manager is a resolution authorizing the lease amendment of real property, presented by County Manager Brian Steen. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is a continuation of an existing relationship we have with the unit of federal government there at the where we have our farm services type activities and spring extension. So we're looking to continue the rent for $37,276.25 or $13.75 per square foot. Glad to see this continue and to make it very convenient for our citizens if they have need of this agency.
Questions for Brian on this matter? Hearing none, I'll go to the verbal roll call vote to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulway,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes on that, Madam Clerk. That's 4-0. All right, moving on to item number 5 from Finance for the fiscal year 2021, the general liability workers' comp insurance renewal, and that will be presented by Margaret Pierce, our Deputy County Manager Finance Director. Margaret?
Yes, sir. You have before you the annual renewals for our insurance with the risk pool. They are in line with the amounts we budgeted as we had spoken with the NCACC in completing the budget. Funds for these contracts are included in the 2021 recommended budget.
All right, questions from Margaret? All right, hearing none, we'll do a verbal roll call vote to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulway,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes, Kay. That'll be 4-0. Moving on to item number 6 is from the Health Department. It will be the Child Protection Child Fatality Teams Calendar. That will be a report for the year 2019, and that will be presented by Rebecca McLeod, our Health Director. Rebecca?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, members of the commission and guests. This is the time of the year when we present our annual meeting, our annual report that the Child Protection Child Fatality Team activities for the year. The state did change it up, and instead of a fiscal year, they wanted a calendar year, which does make it a little bit easier. So we're going back to 2019. And what we were able to do is we did review 9 deaths in 2019. We did have 3 intensive reviews where when you have an intensive review from the state is where our local DSS did have involvement with the family. And that was also with other counties. And so we had 3 of those reviews. We were able to give out 6 car seats. We purchased 6 car seats for families who may not be able to afford car seats. One of the big things that first responders and stuff had mentioned was the fact of we needed some type of labels on the seats. So we worked with Safe Kids Burke County to get those labels to put on the seats. So if they're in a crash and the parents are not able to speak and the children are not old enough, then the firefighters, the highway patrol, first responders, whoever's there, EMS, can look on the seat and see who that child is and if they have any medical conditions. So that was awesome. We were able to distribute those. We were also able to get a little over 1,000 magnets to give out to parents in the county for children for back to sleep. Some of the deaths that we had were due to co-sleeping, and just reminding parents that babies need to sleep in their own bed and also on their backs. So we didn't identify any system needs this past year, which was great. We're still working and passing out information about trauma-informed practices to both daycares. We also pass it out to doctor's offices and anybody else that may work with children. So I just present this report on behalf of the team. If you have any questions.
Gentlemen, questions for Rebecca on this report? Hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this on the agenda. Vice Chair Bowie.
Yes.
Commissioner Abley.
Yes.
Commissioner Britton.
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, Case. That'd be 4-0. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank y'all.
All right, moving on to item number 7 is some JCPC, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council removals, reappointments, and appointments to the council presented by AJ Katu. Or Kay. Who's here, Kay?
I'm here. It's AJ is
Oh,
here.
there's AJ.
Can you?
Fire away, AJ.
Okay. Good. Good afternoon, everyone. The Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, obviously from the agenda, is respectfully requesting reappointment, addition, and appointments, new appointments to the council for the coming 2 fiscal years. We have the following members who are asking for reappointment: Tara Conrad in seat 6, Joseph Martinez in seat 9, Brooke Mills in seat 13, Clifton Smith, Judge Smith in seat 14, Doug Knight in seat 18, David Bridges in seat 21, Brandon Collins in seat 24. Also, the DSS director, Corey Fisher-Wellman, is applying in order to replace Hillary Biggerstaff. Obviously, our recommended seats request that the director sit on the council, and so we're very pleased about that. We also have, for the first time in quite some time, a second student, which we are supposed to have. Mackenzie Pritchard has applied from Drawn High School for our student under 18 slot in seat 12. And so we're respectfully requesting those appointments and additions.
All right, gentlemen, any questions for AJ? All right, hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulvey.
Yes.
Commissioner Abley.
Yes.
Commissioner Britton.
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, Kay. That will be 4-0. Thank you so much, AJ. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to item number 8 is from Partners Behavioral Health Management, a report for the period ending March the 31st, 2020, presented by Katie Doe, who is the Regional Director of Community Operations. Katie?
Hey there. Hello, commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to present this to you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is our third quarter reporting presentation that will just go through some of the Medicaid and state dollars that we've utilized for mental health and substance use services. So you can see for the third quarter, intellectual developmental disabilities, I'm sorry, my screen isn't popping up. 20,191,860, and then for children, for state dollars, it's 443,749. Mental health, 11,051,547, and 1,712,234 for state or uninsured. And substance use, 892,427 for Medicaid and 1,190,649 for uninsured folks. So for the third quarter, we have served an IDD 122 and 278 for mental health, 1,449 and 2,224, and then substance use 67 and 929. So the county funding that you guys have allocated for different programs in the county, the director of the Behavioral Health Center, Burke Integrated Care, at the end of the first quarter, they served 77 individuals. I actually have an update on that. And 51 connected to benefits, service navigation, and linkage for the SOAR program. Mental health substance use services in jail through CVBH. We have 192 individuals receiving treatment while in jail. With psychiatric support through CVBH, 792 patient visits. The Moores program has served 3 families. The embedded therapist at DSS, we, in partnership with DSS, they have contracted with a different provider, which will be Support Incorporated. And to date, they've served 30 individuals through that program and looking to bring on a new therapist there within the next, as soon as possible. I know they're in the hiring process for that. With psychiatric services through Blue Ridge Healthcare, they have served 8 individuals. And if you go to the next slide. Housing, we've served 3 individuals. We haven't served any inter-consumer reserves at this time, although those are available. And System of Care Community Collaboratives, they have had 1 community event date for this fiscal year. Psychiatric support medication through the Good Samaritan Clinic, 207 patients served. And currently we have not had anyone served through NAMI at this time. And do you guys have any questions?
All right, thank you, Katie, for that presentation. Gentlemen, does anybody have any questions for Katie on her report from partners? All right, hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulway?
Yes.
Commissioner Abley?
Yes.
Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes, Kay, so that is unanimous. Thank you, Katie, so much for that report.
Thank you guys very much.
Okay, moving on to items number 9 and 10 will be our reports from Danny Eisenhower, our tax administrator. The first one being the tax collection report for May 2020. Danny?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hope you can hear me well.
Hear you well.
Very good. I'll start at the bottom as usual. Our property tax, we have collected, this is considered budget, $43,937,298.32, which is 101.7% of our budget. Motor vehicles, we still got 1 month to go, so we have collected year-to-date 97.8% of budget. The two of those combined will give you in the second category where you see the current year taxes, total budget collected at 100%, 100.76%. Delinquent taxes, we have collected 114.62%. And under the category late list penalties, we're at 144.76% collected. When you look at the actual levy, we are at 97.91% collected. Now that's just on the tax levy. It does not include motor vehicles. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right, gentlemen, questions on the tax collection report? All right, hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Mr. Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes, Kay, on that one. Danny, move into the release refund report.
Yes, sir. The release refund report, you'll see it's very small this time. And I want to think that that's probably due to the closure of the county offices and COVID. So we had releases in the amount of $34.47. There was none rebuild, so our net release was $34.47. And there was 0 vehicle tax system adjustments or refunds.
Any questions for Danny? Hearing none, I'll do a verbal roll call to leave this item on the agenda. Vice Chair Mulvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes on that case, so that will be unanimous. Moving on to item number 6 is items for decision. Gentlemen, we do not have any at the present time. We will listen to reports at our regular meeting. Other discussion items, let me remind you that Thursday, day after tomorrow, is our special remote meeting to our last budget meeting, and that will be at 2 o'clock via Zoom. Then June 16th will be our regular meeting, and that will be in the county boardroom. We will observe all social distancing rules and be prepared for that one. Some additional reminders, Kitten Palooza on June 12th and 13th from 10 to 4 p.m. at the Animal Services Center. Ladies and gentlemen that are listening or watching us, please have your pets spayed or neutered. Please pick up trash in Burke County to help keep Burke County clean. I hope all of you saw the article or in the News Herald today regarding the census. We were ranked number 46 out of 100 counties on the census. I hope we can do a little bit better than that, or at least I think we can. Like us and follow us on Facebook. Does anybody else have anything to come before the board today? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Vice Chair Mulvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Abley,
Yes.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
and Kay, I will also vote yes. Thank you, gentlemen.